Welcome back to Drafting with Mark, and in this video we're going to discuss nothing but the rotate command. So if you're having trouble understanding or how to use rotate, what I'm going to do is in this video is show you how to use it as well as the reference. Now if you stick around to the end of this, I'm also going to give you another command that you can use to rotate objects. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it and get started. Okay, so some of the things I'm going to go ahead and do for you is let's go ahead and turn the grid off. We're not going to use that. And I'm going to leave ortho off here just because we're going to create something and we're going to be able to rotate it and do other things. So I'm going to first just create a rectangle. And since I'm using this as kind of a demo, it does not matter what size you use. So I'm just going to create a rectangle on the screen. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put a circle around here. Now I'm going to show you a different circle. And I want to make a diameter circle, right? I want to create a circle that goes from this end point to this one. That is a diameter circle, but if you just use the 2 points, all you have to do is go ahead and select both of the end points along this circle. I don't have to really put circles or something on the end of this, but I just wanted to give you some kind of reference of a drawing or something that you can visually see instead of me just rotating a rectangle. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is that when we look at the rectangle command, most of the time we know the angle that we're going to rotate this to, right? So if I go to the rotate command and I'm just going to follow along here on the command line, is this going to say select the objects? All right, so I think we can figure that part out. We selected our 3 objects that we selected or that we drew. Go ahead and hit the enter button. The next thing it's going to ask me for a base point. This is going to be where exactly do you want to spin this thing around. So where do I want to rotate this around? In this case, I'm just going to rotate it around this midpoint here. And I kind of forgot to show you what running O snaps I have turned on. But these are the ones I will typically have turned on. All right. So I'm going to select this midpoint, or it's going to be the center of that circle, right? So right now, AutoCAD is saying, hey, go ahead and tell me where you want to place this, right? And the reason why I made sure that ortho was turned off. If yours is only locked in the horizontal and vertical, then go ahead and turn your ortho off. All right. So it's asking me to put in an angle right now. So if I wanted to put in whatever angle I wanted to use, remember that AutoCAD reads things counterclockwise as a positive number. So if I wanted this to go 30 degrees up this direction, I'm going to type in 30, right? So if I type in 30, it's going to rotate this up 30 degrees. Always remember, counterclockwise. I'm going to undo this, and then we're going to take a look at doing it going downward, right? So let's go and take a look at the rotate command again. Select the objects. Enter. So after I'm done selecting, always hit enter. Go ahead and go back to this midpoint. So if I wanted to rotate this down, I can type in a negative 30 degrees. Or you could type in 270. That's just going to spin it all the way around in that 360 degree circle. But in my mind, it's a lot easier to remember the negative value because once I hit enter, it's going to rotate it downward in that negative value rotation, right? So that's the easy part about rotating if you remember the counterclockwise and the clockwise, right? And that's good if we do have the angle. But maybe I wanted to match that angle to something that is drawing somewhere else. So what I'm going to do is create a line here, and it doesn't matter how long I need. I'm just going to make a line at whatever angle this is, right? So it's some idea what that angle is, but I want to make this match that angle. So I'm going to go to rotate. Always reading the command line, I'm going to select the objects. Go ahead and hit the enter. Now it says the base point. All of this stuff is just the normal stuff that I explained before. So where do I want this to revolve around? And now it's saying, okay, give me an angle, right? So what I'm going to do is use the reference option, right? I'm going to go reference. And what I always do is I pick on your object first. So I want either this center to match that line, or I can have these 2 centers on these lines. So any line that's on that angle that I want to use. So I'm just going to select this quadrant and this quadrant. And now you see that it's kind of rotating around with me. And then I need it to match the angle. At this point, I can type in an angle that I want it to be. And I'm going to show you that after I do this. But I'm going to go and select the word points. And then I'm going to select these 2 points, and I'm going to select them in the order that I want. So the first point that I'm going to select is going to be where my origin is going to spin from. So that's the first point that's correlating to the first point I selected here. So let's select that point, and then I'm going to select this point. Once I do that, you will see that the rotate command actually matches that, right? But let's do something a little bit more crazier with this. Let's say we want to rotate this and it's at some weird angle, and maybe I want to make this rotation at 45 degrees. So let's go and use the rotate command. Let's go ahead and select our object. Once again, enter. Go ahead and select the base point. And then I'm going to select the word reference. This time I'm going to do the exact same thing I did before. I'm going to select, let's do the center this time. Let's go from this midpoint to this one. So now it's rotating from that. And then I'm going to type in what angle I want this to be. Let's say we want that angle to be 45. And now it's going to be 45. So no matter what angle it's sitting at, I can manipulate it and control it to rotate it to the correct angle. Now also keep in mind that you do have a copy function in all of this. So if you wanted to keep that as well as the other one, you can use the copy function. And what I mean by that is if I go to rotate, well, let's use the reference one again. Let's draw a line and let's send it down, let's say this way. All right. So I want to rotate this. I want to rotate it down, but I also want to make a copy of that. So let's go to rotate. Let's go ahead and select the objects. Hit enter. I'm going to select the base point. And then I'm going to tell it that I want a copy of it. So I'm going to select the word copy here. And then I'm going to say, hey, I want to use a reference. And what I want to use the reference of is I'm going to use, let's use the centers again. Let's go that midpoint to this midpoint. Now remember that you have to select the word points. And then I'm going to select from this endpoint down to this endpoint, right? So now you see that I made a copy of it and it's rotated downward in that direction, right? So that's one of those really neat things to use. Now, here's that other command that I wanted you to show you that you can rotate and then move. So this is going to be a dual command option here. And the command I wanted to show you is going to be the align command, right? So let's go ahead and move one of these, or better yet, let's undo and get one of them off the screen. All right. Once again, let's go ahead and take this same line here and say we want this object to be aligned with this one, and we also want it to move with it, right? So this is going to have a rotation and a move function inside of it. And also in the align command, if we want to get a little bit more detail into it, it also has a scale function. Now, I'll go over another video showing you how to use the align command more effectively. And then in that video, I will make sure that I highlight the scale function in this one. But this one is all about rotations, right? So let's go ahead and choose align, which is located here. And then we're going to follow along just on our command prompt like we normally do. So we're going to select the objects, hit enter. And now it's going to say, give me the first source point. Always pick on the object that you want to move first, right? So this is the object that I want to rotate. So I'm just going to say, I want this endpoint, or this center, sorry, I want this center or midpoint to be with that endpoint. Then the next one, it says, give me a second one. I'm going to say, hey, I want this midpoint to be with this endpoint. Now that's all I need to do. It's asking for a third source. If you're reading that on the command line, I don't need to do that. I'm just going to hit enter. Now it's going to ask me, hey, do you want to scale this? That's that scale function in this one. Like I said, I'll show you that in another video. But in this one, I'm just going to show you how to rotate. So I'm going to leave that answer at no. And once I hit enter, you're going to see that it will move that object and rotate it. So this is one of those super neat commands that you can rotate and move something. All right. So I hope this video was helpful to you. If you like this kind of content, let me know. Please go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. And I can't wait to do another command video for you and show you some of the other neat features of AutoCAD. Thank you for watching.